everything there is to ride, see, shop, and eat at one of the Universal theme parks. Let's do a full walkthrough of Universal's Islands of Adventure. Universal's Islands of Adventure is Universal Orlando Resort's second theme park. It opened back in 1999. It is modeled after a journey of exploration where guests can embark on an adventure to visit a variety of themed islands. There are 8 of these themed islands, the majority of which are based on licensed properties, with only 2 being things that Universal actually owns. So a pretty wide variety of themes here. You'll start your Islands of Adventure day in Port of Entry, the first land. It's the park's main entrance and it's home to many shops and services, although no rides. But it's a very important area because there's a lot that you can do here. Guest services can be found just at the entrance of the park in the aptly named Open Arms Hotel. A great spot to stop by if you have any issues with tickets or anything like that. There's an entrance inside the park and then there's also windows outside of the park so that you can have some help from guest services. Next door we have DePhoto's Expedition Photography, which is one of the stores here in Port of Entry. It's going to have a lot of pretty standard Universal merchandise. As you can see, this is my favorite Universal collection. I'm obsessed. Look at this glass. Are you kidding? Look. And this is one of those very classic theme park stores that you can kind of walk through a bunch of stores in a row. The next one that it's connected to is the Island Market and Export Candy Shop. So, bakery case. Oh man. One thing I like about Universal is there's a lot more access to fudge, which isn't the most important thing, but it is nice. The next room you'll see we're kind of headed into, it's Christmas, which is strange. However, this store is actually Christmas year-round. This is Port of Entry Christmas Shop. A lot of people, when they have theme park traditions, will pick up like an ornament every year to commemorate. The shop in general has a ton of ornaments, a ton of like Christmas decorations and things like that. Year round you can come in here and grab some stuff. Oh, look at the little TV. And all 3 of those stores are connected, so you can kind of come in, shop through all of them, check out anywhere you like. Look at this. Isn't that neat? I love the theming in Port of Entry. I just feel like it feels so adventurous, and in general the whole vibe of like going to different islands around Universal is very, very cool. I love these little photo ops here. I have some very funny pictures of me as like a 14-year-old on the like tiger and that chair that are really good memories. Back towards the front, like the very, very front, we've got a couple of more like amenities. You've got lost and found, locker renters, wheelchair and stroller rentals, some bathrooms. Ever important. The theming here is just so playful as well. I just really like walking around this area. And then right by the exit, you'll find Port Provisions, Souvenirs, and Gifts, which is just one final little stop if you're on your way out the park and just forgot to grab a souvenir or just kind of want to stroll through. Maybe you're waiting for your family to come out of the bathroom. Usually you can find some of the more popular merchandise at these little stops, which is great if you just like decided you really needed a tiny dinosaur. Just outside the park you'll see Pharos Lighthouse, which is Islands of Adventure's icon. Each night it is a functioning lighthouse and it does send out a bright beam to lead visitors to and from the park's gates, which is pretty cool. My favorite thing by far in Port of Entry is the Islands of Adventure Trading Company. This is the biggest store, I believe, in Islands of Adventure. It's also my favorite place to shop for Universal merchandise in Islands of Adventure or Universal Studios. They tend to have the widest selection in this store. They have an entire Harry Potter department, and look, Mardi Gras. Mardi Gras is one of the festivals here at Universal, and they went ahead and have the merch out. So that festival is starting soon. We will certainly be covering it on the channel. Just in general, you're going to find most anything you might want from around the park in here. The smaller stores typically have a selection of what's in this store. So I just highly recommend if you're on your way out of the park, you saw something during the day that you're like, actually I did want that, you can check this store. Shrek section. I can't wait for Shrek 5. Puss in Boots' Last Wish was so good. They should have Puss in Boots merchandise. And it is truly a huge Harry Potter section. Universal knows how people feel about Harry Potter, so tons and tons and tons of Harry Potter merch is in here. They even have an entire wand wall, so if you decide you want a wand on the way out of the park, you can grab it here. Now when you're in Universal, whether you are actually interested in like getting merchandise or not, I do highly recommend looking at the stores for prop replicas and signed posters. Universal is really unique in that a lot of the stores do have some like hidden gems of seriously expensive merchandise that might be a prop replica, like you can see in here a lot of prop replicas, or it might actually be signed by actors from the movie that you're looking at, which is very, very cool. Just outside of Islands of Adventure Trading Company, we have Ocean Trader Market. This is gonna have a lot of more like clothes offerings, vacation clothes that you can buy and things like that. It's definitely great if you like didn't grab anything comfortable or you want to have something comfortable for the next day. Maybe you didn't pack quite right, you can check in Ocean Traders. They've also got like jewelry and homeware, stuff that isn't necessarily Universal intellectual property or to do with any of the lands here, but that just might be a good thing to take home and have. I definitely recommend listening when you're walking through Port of Entry. You might hear some little secrets. For instance, there was definitely some conversation of escape when we looked at the jail a little earlier. Here we have Croissant Moon Bakery, which is currently under construction, but it is still open. This is going to be a great location to get deli sandwiches, paninis, freshly baked pastries, and sometimes cheesecakes as well. They've also got coffee, and it's a great place for breakfast. Around Universal, you might see some more personalized souvenir opportunities like caricatures or name art. I recommend keeping an eye out for it because that can be a really great way to commemorate your vacation or get some new decoration for your house that's more personalized. Port of Entry is also home to some chains, including Starbucks coffee. If you need a little pick-me-up, this is where the Starbucks is for the park. And a Cinnabon. Got Cinnabon. Slaps. Alright, now that I'm filled up on cinnamon buns, we can continue. Next up, we've got Confisco Grill. This is a table service restaurant. They've got a pretty adventurous menu, and I have to say, I have been very pleased with the food that I've had at Confisco Grill. They've got grilled sandwiches, burgers, soup, salads, fajitas, pasta, some other international dishes. I have to say, they've had a variety of stuff. Right now, they've got sort of an Asian theme, Korean fried rice bowl, pad thai, but they also have things like butternut squash ravioli and like a baked chicken sandwich. So pretty much anybody can find something they like here. I absolutely loved the pork belly banh mi sandwich I got at Confisco Grill, and then also the short ribs are amazing. And conveniently connected to Confisco Grill is Backwater Bar, which is a full bar that you can access whether you're dining at the restaurant or as a walk-up. One thing to note about drinking at Universal Orlando is that unlike Disney, it's one alcoholic drink per ID. So if you're walking up to the bar and you wanted to get one for your husband or wife or whatever, they need to be with you, or you need to at least have their ID, but oftentimes they need to be with you. So just a heads up, at Disney you can get 2 drinks with an ID, so that's a big difference. Walking past a couple of little merchandise stands, you'll see these around Universal just everywhere. A great place to grab stuff if you need. There's also like snack stands, like back there's a lemon slush. Something else you'll notice here is there is a Mardi Gras booth. Typically the festivals are over at Uni Studios only, but for Mardi Gras we're seeing some booths pop up here in Islands of Adventure and City Walk. So that's pretty cool. There will be some Mardi Gras offerings over here at Islands of Adventure. But now we're heading into our next land. Welcome to Marvel Superhero Island, the first of our themed islands here at Islands of Adventure. This is based on superhero characters from the Marvel comics, as you might have guessed. And yes, Disney does own Marvel, but there is a Marvel land at Universal and not in Disney World. So Universal actually originally purchased the theme park rights for Marvel from Marvel Comics when it was owned by Marvel Comics. Now that Marvel is owned by Disney, the contract remains that Universal owns the theme park rights to Marvel, but there's a stipulation in that contract that Universal only owns those rights as long as they use them. So characters have to have been used in the theme parks for Disney to not be able to use them. And that contract is split into 2 halves on either side of the Mississippi River. So because Guardians of the Galaxy isn't here at Universal Studios, that means that Universal didn't use them, technically lost access to the rights, and now Disney has the rights to use those in Disney World. It's very complicated. I can break it all down on AllEars.net in a post. If you'd like that, just let me know in the comments. But regardless, that means you do get to see your favorite Marvel characters here at Marvel Superhero Island. So you'll enter below one of the most popular roller coasters in all of Universal. I think you can see why. It's pretty thrilling. This is the Incredible Hulk Coaster. With a height requirement of 54 inches, the Incredible Hulk Coaster is a launched roller coaster based on the Hulk comics. It is the land's signature coaster with a top speed of 67 miles per hour, so pretty fast, faster than any ride in Disney World, and definitely thrilling. Heads up that for many Universal attractions, you do have to store any bags that cannot go around your hip in lockers before the ride. And for some, like the Incredible Hulk Coaster, you'll need to go through metal detectors, so you'll need to store everything you have with you in a locker. Next, we have Storm Force Accelatron. This is a Teacups ride that's based on the X-Men. You use your ride vehicle to help Storm harness enough forces of thunder and lightning to defeat Magneto. It does not have a height requirement, but supervision is required for riders under 48 inches tall. It's really a bit more rock and roll than Mad Tea Party. Our next stop is a dining location. This is Cafe 4, which is a great place to eat if you are a fan of Fantastic Four, because it is Fantastic Four themed. It's meant to be their headquarters and laboratory. This spot's gonna have some Italian style basics like pizza, pasta, sandwiches, salads, things like that. Across the way, we've got some in-theme interplanetary popcorn and cotton candy stands. Photo op where you can pose in the Fantastic Four mobile. And then we've got Kingpin's Arcade. There's Kingpin up there. For an additional fee, you can come in here and play some arcade games, claw machines. It's a pretty sizable arcade, so definitely like not a must-do in my opinion on a theme park day because it is an added fee. Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. One of my favorite details about Marvel Superhero Island is that the buildings are all labeled very generically like in a comic book. This one's called Store, that one's called Shop. Over there, just pretzels. I think that's super fun. This here is the Marvel Alternaverse shop, which is gonna have a lot of like, of course, Marvel merchandise. This store is always so wild to me because not only do they have obviously comics-based merchandise, they also have Disney-based Marvel merchandise. So there is a merchandising agreement between Disney and Universal where you can literally get Disney merchandise in here, which is so crazy. But some of these stores are probably a stop if you're a collector. They've got art prints and figurines that are pretty intense and expensive. So if you are a collector, oh my gosh, Spider-Man's just over there. So definitely around Marvel Superhero Island, there are character meet and greets. Recently, you've been able to meet characters like Spider-Man, Captain America, Wolverine, Cyclops, Rogue, Storm, Green Goblin, and Doctor Doom. Oh, hey, good news. Spider-Man got Doc Ock. Across the way here, we've got our next attraction in the land. This is Doctor Doom's Fearfall. It is a space shot ride based on the Fantastic Four archenemy Doctor Doom. 52-inch height requirement. I'll also note, I was expecting this to be more like a classic drop zone, but it is in fact not. It shoots you up really fast and then you come down slowly, which I prefer. I like a little thrill at the beginning and then a nice view as I leisurely fall down. I really love the theming in this land because it looks like you're walking around in a comic book, just the way the buildings are made. It's kind of like trippy. Your eyes kind of play tricks on you. Also great for photos. Right in here into the comic book shop. This is actually the store you'll exit through if you're coming off of the Spider-Man ride, which we'll talk about in just a second. So it's gonna be pretty Spider-Man centric in here. But not just Spider-Man, also Spider-Gwen, Into the Spider-Verse merchandise. Look, Spider-Gwen stuff. So if you're a Spider-Man fan, which I know a lot of people are Spider-Man fans, myself included, you definitely are gonna wanna stop in here. There's some pretty cool merchandise. Great for gifts too. Another fun thing to look for is that the comic book artist who drew a lot of the facades on these buildings did hide his name in them. It's Adam. So you can kind of see it here. It says A-D-A-M. But in a lot of the drawings you can find the name Adam. So that's something to look for. I think what I like about Marvel Superhero Island is that it's cheesy, like the comics are. Like, you know, Avengers Campus in Disneyland is very like serious, feels like the MCU. With, you know, jokes like the MCU has, but this just feels silly, like the comics do sometimes, and I think it's pretty neat. Next, we've got The Amazing Adventures of Spider-Man. This is a 3D dark ride based on Spider-Man, of course. The ride is set in New York as Spider-Man prevents the Sinister Syndicate from taking the Statue of Liberty. It's incredibly popular and a very, very, very fun ride. It does have a 40-inch height requirement, but I think this one's just amazing. It kind of put Universal's sort of like simulator mixed with physical attractions on the map. And was way, way, way ahead of its time. Nearby, you can get some superhero face paint, or get an Annie Ann's pretzel. Yep, sure enough, Wolverine and Captain America are in there. We can guess. When you see the giant Captain America, know that you've found Captain America's Diner. This is, as you can probably guess, a diner that serves all American classics, like cheeseburgers, chicken sandwiches, chicken fingers, salads and things like that. These dining locations typically are not too crowded, air conditioned, they have seats, this and Cafe 4. The food isn't going to be that standout, but if you're just looking for some theme park classics and a little bit of a break, definitely the place to stop. Yet another store here, this one just labeled comics. This is my favorite store in Marvel Superhero Island, and I think you'll see why. You can actually buy comics in here, which I just love because I think with the MCU, sort of the base medium of comics has gotten a little lost, but you can come in here and buy comics, a lot of the new ones, which is just really cool to have in a theme park. This is where the store is really cool though. That's the Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse poster signed by the voice of Miles Morales, which is so wild, for $375. So collector's items are like seriously a thing. And it's not just non-Disney stuff either. Look, this is signed by Josh Brolin. Brie Larson up here. You can see what I mean. Even if you're not looking to buy, stepping in here and checking out some of these like signatures. They've had a lot more in the past, so it looks like they've sold. But I mean, that's signed by Jeff Goldblum. That's so wild. And just before you exit the land, you'll find an ice cream stand. Ever important in a theme park. Everybody needs ice cream all the time. I'll also note that you'll find these lemon slush stands around Universal. They're usually in theme with the rest of the land, just like other places. So if you want a frozen lemonade, another theme park staple, they got you covered. We've got a little between island transition here where we've got some carnival games available for an additional fee, but they do have Marvel themed prizes and other Universal prizes too. Like you can win ET here. And with that, we've made it to our next island, Toon Lagoon. Toon Lagoon is based on the cartoon and comic strip characters from King Features Syndicate and Jay Ward. So think your Sunday color comics. This area also has the main focus of water rides, hence the name Toon Lagoon. There's a lot of like splash pad elements, water misting down, and two very, very big water rides here. There are character meet and greets in this land with classic comic strip characters. You can sometimes meet Betty Boop, Popeye and Olive Oil, and Bullwinkle J. Moose from Rocky and Bullwinkle. I definitely think this land is a little on the outdated side. I think most kids probably have no idea who Kathy is or Betty Boop or Popeye, but I do really like the theming here. I think some of the photo ops are the cutest in Universal anywhere. Right when you walk in, you'll find Comic Strip Cafe on your left, which is gonna have basics like fried chicken, fish and chips, hot dogs, burgers, and a few popular Asian and Italian dishes. This land is certainly supposed to feel like you're walking into a comic strip, and it does. Comic Strip Cafe especially feels like you're just sitting in one, which is pretty neat. Got a store over here right under the Flash Gordon sign. Flash! Oh, he saved every one of us. You know that Queen song? My dad used to play that all the time. This store is called Photo Funnies. And you can actually still get like old character-based merchandise here in Toon Lagoon, which is pretty neat that they haven't fully phased it out. So if you have been fiending for Popeye merch, oh my gosh, Relove needs this. But since I'm sure Betty Boop and Popeye don't exactly pull merchandise sales like they used to, these stores have a little bit of a mix to them now, including other cartoon characters that are a little more well-known, like SpongeBob and Patrick, and of course Despicable Me minions. Who doesn't love them? Oh my gosh, they're playing Popeye in here. I can literally just stand in here and watch Popeye. That's amazing. When I used to read the Sunday comics, I was a big Hagar fan. I can't tell you why. There's an ice cream stand, and then across the way, behind this dog fountain, I guess those are a lot of different cartoon dogs. Right? You'll find another store. Lots of Betty Boop stuff in here. And some more general Universal merch. Some kind of flashy stuff. I like that. So it's probably not a surprise that my name is almost never on these mugs. In fact, it usually goes P straight to R. Sure enough, P to R. But my brother does buy me mugs that say Jeff, because I always talk about how I can't buy mugs that have my name. There's not even a Jeff one here. I mean, I guess it's Betty Boop. These are all women's names. That would make sense. Beetle Bailey's, I like that one too. And I liked Blondie, who has her very own restaurant here. This is Blondie's. Of course, home of the Dagwood. It's a deli with made-to-order deli subs and sandwiches, including the famous pile-tie Dagwood. This is a pretty good place to grab food, just because it is made to order, so that can be a little bit nicer. Now, when you get through to this kind of circular area, you can continue on to the next lands this way, but there's sort of a Popeye-themed outcropping if we go this direction. Over here, we've got an attraction that I would consider the wettest water ride of all time. This is Popeye and Bluto's Bilge Rat Barges. And this one does get you so wet that I say it gets you wetter than when you're in the shower. It is a raft ride that takes you alongside Popeye to rescue Olive Oil. I think it's got a really fun theme, and it is much, much more fun than Cali River Rapids. So if you're a raft ride fan, this is a must-do. Just be warned, you will get soaked. You can rent lockers to put your stuff away, and they do have those body dryers that don't really work, but I, after riding this ride, have been more wet than ever in my life. It is a level of soaked that is unreal. One thing I will say about Popeye and Bluto's Bilge Rat Barges is if you are okay with getting wet, that ride is so much fun. To laugh at your friends when they get like shot in the face with a bunch of water, or strangers. I always find that on raft rides, I like have a pretty good time with people I don't even know because it's so exciting. There's another food location back here at Wimpy's. Good place to grab a burger. It's just a little walk-up area. Obsessed with that plate of burgers right there. That's amazing. Oh, they have curly fries. They have Dole Whip. No way! Okay, Wimpy's, you can get Dole Whip. Then if you get pretty far back in here, you'll find Me Ship the Olives. I don't think that's how Popeye talks. But this is a kid's playground that's built in and around Popeye's ship with some interactive elements. It was, I mean, I don't know, it's pretty fun. I love these like themed little playground things. And a lot of times I wish that I was a kid so that it was less weird for me to play on them. Also, talk about the view of VelociCoaster from here. It's in the next land we're heading to. Back out, we've got another store here. This is Gasoline Alley. Good place. They do sell towels. They sell like ponchos and stuff. I'm sure that that's kind of a hot commodity here at Toon Lagoon. You can also get like flip-flops and things like that if your shoes are so wet that you can't stand to be in them anymore. My favorite photo op of all time in Universal is over here. It's the Marmaduke photo op. You hold on to the rope and then the person taking the picture of you takes the picture like this. And it looks like Marmaduke is pulling you along. I love it. So we've got a store, Wasamata-U. And this is a great place to head if you've got a kid who loves Secret Life of Pets, or if you love the Secret Life of Pets. There's stocked with Secret Life of Pets merchandise in here, as well as some ET and some Jaws stuff. Just the stuff you'll find generally around. And we're not quite done with Toon Lagoon. We've got Ale to the Chief here if you need a beverage or an icy. And then we've got the other huge water ride. Introducing the massive Dudley Do-Right's Ripsaw Falls. This is a log flume ride where guests witness the adventures of Dudley Do-Right, leading to a 75-foot drop at the end. Yep, 75 feet is higher than Splash Mountain / Tiana's Bayou Adventure in Disney World. Being up there, I have been very afraid of heights when I come out of that top. I'm never afraid of heights, but on this ride, also, you get so soaked. There's a 44-inch height requirement on this ride, and I will warn you, these ride vehicles are very uncomfortable. They are true bobsled style, so your legs will be around the person in front of you. Can be very tricky to get in and out of. So just something to be aware of if you like have mobility issues, or if you just don't think you'll be comfortable sitting in a bobsled style log flume. I recommend skipping this one. And that's it for Toon Lagoon. Our next stop is the smallest and newest island at Universal Islands of Adventure. This island is called Skull Island Reign of Kong. The only thing in it are a few snack stands and a ride of the same name. This island / the attraction just opened in 2016, so it is the newest island in the park. And it does mark the return of the King Kong character to Universal Orlando Resort after the very popular Kongfrontation attraction closed at Universal Studios in 2002, where the Mummy used to be. So that's pretty exciting. There is an unbelievable animatronic of King Kong on this ride that is huge. Not quite as jaw-dropping as the old one from Kongfrontation, but still amazing. The attraction itself is a trackless dark ride based on the King Kong franchise. You come face-to-face with King Kong, and it is based on Skull Island, so there are dinosaurs as well, which makes it a pretty good transition to our next land. This ride can get a very, very long wait. I do not recommend waiting that long for it. Right now it's a 15-minute wait, and that's a little more realistic, but it's a very screen-heavy attraction that I know people like, but isn't a favorite by most. So if you see it above like an hour, I would not wait that long for it. Stop by this stand called Base Camp Provisions if you need any King Kong merchandise. Oh my gosh, do I hear a tiny plush King Kong? That's literally it for Skull Island. Really not a lot going on there. But now I say to you, welcome to Jurassic Park. We've made it to Jurassic Park. This island is themed to the film series of the same name. Set after the events of the first film, it's supposed to be that you are actually in Jurassic Park and now sometimes Jurassic World, depending on what ride you're on. There are lots of very fun photo ops in this area, like this T-Rex with the Jeep one. And right as you enter, you'll pass Thunder Falls Terrace, which is sort of a more basic food service location. They've got things like rotisserie chicken, turkey legs, and also some more unique options like roasted pork pernil and rice bowls. I do like going into the food service locations in this area because it truly does feel like you're in a dinosaur theme park or Jurassic Park, which is pretty cool. Oh my gosh, a dinosaur, hello! The first attraction that we'll pass in Jurassic Park is a very cool one that I think is actually often overlooked, but if you've got kids, you absolutely have to go in here. Also, you can rock climb, which is something. Welcome to Camp Jurassic. So this is a children's play area centered around an imported 50-foot tall banyan tree, which is so cool. There's a variety of play elements like slides, nets, water cannons, and fountains. So just a paradise for little kiddos. And there's a pretty cool surprise inside that I am very jealous of. This is an area where the whole family can certainly have a blast playing around together, which I think is so fun to have those areas in theme parks. Again, burn off some energy for kids, and rides might be fun, but a lot of kids you can't beat just running around a playground. I'm lost in some caves. Why do theme parks have so many caves? Oh my god, there's scary dinosaur noises in here. There's like really scary dinosaur noises. Also in this area you have Pteranodon Flyers, which is a very, very incredibly unique ride, and definitely popular with kiddos. This is a steel suspended roller coaster based on pteranodons, so like pterodactyls basically. Guests travel a small circuit around Camp Jurassic. Now the catch here is that you have to be between 36 inches and 56 inches to ride. If you are taller, you have to be accompanied by a child that meets those requirements. It's like a reverse height requirement. Pteranodon Flyers, I have ridden it before, but when I was between those height requirements, and I absolutely loved it. I have not been able to ride it since because I am never here with a child, which is sad, and you can't just borrow a child to ride a ride. That's weird. Really sad thing about Pteranodon Flyers for me is that when I rode it as a kid, when I came to Universal for the first time, I absolutely loved it so much. A hurricane then hit Florida, and Universal reopened, but Pteranodon Flyers had damage and couldn't reopen. So I didn't get to ride it the next day like I wanted to when we came back to Universal. It's just been a tragic history of me and Pteranodon Flyers. But you know, maybe one day I'll find a child and ride it again. I'll keep you guys updated. All right, our next stop is Jurassic Outfitters. This is one of the shopping locations here in this land. Of course, if you want Jurassic Park or Jurassic World merchandise, this is the place to go. For instance, if you were really hoping for a tiny mustachioed Chris Pratt, that's wild. And you know, there's collector's items in here too, like little models you can build. Oh my gosh, is that a VelociCoaster model? This shirt is like the opposite of the moral of every Jurassic Park or Jurassic World movie. We very much need to not let them out. Oh, Lego sets? I am gonna stay in here all day. The merchandise in here is very exciting. I am so tickled that this stand is called Natural Selections. That's so funny. Under construction currently, but Jurassic Park River Adventure is another attraction here in Universal's Islands of Adventure. This is a water ride that takes you into Jurassic Park, and you know, you're just on a regular tour to see some dinosaurs. And then things go very wrong because it's Jurassic Park. Next thing you know, you're face to face with a T-Rex. It happens when you're in Jurassic Park. That one has a 42-inch height requirement. Another very cool experience here in Jurassic Park/World is the Raptor encounter. This is a meet and greet where you can actually interact with Blue, the Velociraptor from the movies. We've got a food and beverage location here at Pizza Predatoria serving, you guessed it, pizza. There's a little baby raptor out meeting guests. That's so fun. I should not think baby dinosaurs are cute, but do I? Obviously. Speaking of cute, you can win some cute dinosaur toys if you come and play the games of Jurassic Park here. Different arcade games, and the prizes are dinosaurs. This is for an extra fee. And next, one of my favorite spots in any theme park, the Jurassic Park Discovery Center. This is a very cool attraction / store / restaurant that is based exactly on the Discovery Center from the Jurassic Park movie. In my opinion, it looks exactly like the Discovery Center does in Jurassic Park, even down to the giant Tyrannosaurus Rex skeleton in the lobby that they like swing from. The pterodactyl or pteranodon skeleton, and all of this like collapses at the end of the movie. It's just super cool. Up on the top floor of the Discovery Center is the Burger Digs. This is a burger spot, sandwich spot. Gonna be more like theme park basics where you can grab food. Air conditioned, good amount of seating, pretty cool area. Although I will warn that it's loud in here because of the domed ceiling. But gotta be movie accurate, you know. There's also the Dino Store in here where you can find more Jurassic Park merchandise. There's also jewelry, which is pretty cool, with dino themes and stone themes. But just if you're shopping for dino merch, come on in here. But this is actually an attraction as well. The attraction part of the Discovery Center is located down the stairs. I think of the Hammond kids running down to see John Hammond and their granddad on these stairs. There's more merchandise down here at the bottom. This is going to be VelociCoaster centric merchandise. More Jurassic World stuff down here, and more of the same stuff you're seeing in the other stores. But then this is also kind of like a museum slash interactive play area. It's like a museum where you can touch stuff. But you can learn about dinosaurs and how they lived, which is super neat. There are games as well, like You Bet Jurassic, which is a trivia game.
We have some legal paperwork, and it'll only take about 2 hours or so. Thanks for joining us, my friend.
I've seen so many baby dinosaurs today. I love it. I love it here. There's also a game where you can do DNA sequencing with Mr. DNA from the film. It's just really cool in here, and I think super easy to overlook if you're not just wandering. So I'm glad that I'm showing it to you, so you can come in here if you want. And out the back, we're in kind of this newer area. Why is it newer, you ask? Because this is where you'll find Jurassic World VelociCoaster. VelociCoaster is the newest attraction here at Universal Islands of Adventure. It is a Velociraptor-themed launch roller coaster, 51-inch height requirement, very high, very fast, extremely thrilling. There are lots of inversions on this ride. You do go completely upside down over water. It's incredibly thrilling, incredibly fun, incredibly fast. There are some very cool Velociraptor effects in the queue and on this ride. If you like roller coasters, I highly recommend doing it. If roller coasters are a little scary to you, this one will certainly be no different. It is a very intense roller coaster. And heading up the path back to sort of the main loop around Islands of Adventure, you find yourself back in Jurassic Park, although maybe with some questionable elements. But we have our last food and dining location, the watering hole. This is a refreshment stop, so you're looking at like drinks like Coca-Cola, and then they've also got cocktails and beers and such. And actually, I want to point out one very special aspect of this location. All right, I've got my favorite thing about drinking at the watering hole. This is at a few of the different food and dining locations. This is the Jurassic Park exclusive IPA. It's the Isla Nublar. Isla Nublar or Isla Nublar? I said Isla, and then the guy said Isla, so, you know, you decide. But it's an IPA. It's exclusive to Jurassic Park. I really love Universal because they have a lot of exclusive beers, which is super fun. And this is a killer beer. It's super citrusy. It's got a little bit of hops to add some character, but not too much that it's bitter. And it's not overwhelming for an IPA. Plus, IPA, higher alcohol content. So I do recommend this if you like beer. Even if you're not typically an IPA drinker, I usually like red ales or like blondes, and I like this. So say goodbye to dinosaurs, folks. We're headed into the most popular island at Universal Islands of Adventure. You guessed it, it's the Wizarding World of Harry Potter Hogsmeade. Sure enough, we're crossing over on the side that you can see Hogwarts. This land, of course, is based on the Harry Potter books and films. This side is Hogsmeade. There is another side over at Universal Studios, which you can see an MS Complete tour of Universal Studios. Over there, it's Diagon Alley with a couple other options, but the original Wizarding World of Harry Potter is right here. Right as we enter from Jurassic Park, we come across one of the butterbeer carts. There are a few of these in Hogsmeade. This is where you can get butterbeer frozen or cold. They also have hot butterbeer in some of the restaurants. Butterbeer is a non-alcoholic beverage that's kind of reminiscent of butterscotch and cream soda. I absolutely love it, and it's a very famous Harry Potter beverage that you do have to try. You can check it out in our Perfect Day at Harry Potter World. As we head up towards Hogwarts Castle, we are at the first attraction. There is an attraction inside Hogwarts Castle. This is Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey. It is a very unique dark ride attraction where the seats are these magical floating benches that sort of swirl you around. Feels very thrilling. It's part simulator, so you'll see some screens that feel like you're flying on a broom. Part physical, where you'll be on those flying benches as you float through the Forbidden Forest and the Chamber of Secrets. There are a lot of very famous scenes from Harry Potter represented in this ride. It doesn't make a lot of sense story-wise, so as a Harry Potter fan, that always is a little weird to me, but I absolutely enjoy this attraction. Heavy warning for motion sickness, though. This one makes even people who've never been motion sick before motion sick. It's just a really interesting way of movement that you might not be used to. Even if you don't plan on riding Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey, I do recommend walking through the queue as it shows you a lot of very iconic scenes from Hogwarts. You can take the chicken exit at the end, but definitely worth doing. You see the Mirror of Erised, you see the Gryffindor Common Room, you see the Defense Against the Dark Arts classroom, Dumbledore's office. It's very worth doing as a Harry Potter fan. Our first merchandise location of Harry Potter World is Filch's Emporium. This is a rather large merchandise location on this side, and it is the exit through retail for Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey. So you will walk through here if you ride that ride. Gonna have a lot of the Harry Potter themed merch specific to the houses. There are some cool details in here, like the Marauders map actually showing where people are in the castle right now. Of course, as always, my favorite, the prop replica cabinet is in here as well. Stationery, Christmas ornaments, personalizable options, home decor. There's a lot going on in here. You can even buy full Hogwarts robes if you want to look like a full Hogwarts student walking around Harry Potter World, which, why would you not? Oh my gosh, that's cute. If you didn't already know, I'm a Slytherin. Reed loves a Gryffindor and is a Hufflepuff. I don't know what Sage is. Another attraction here in Harry Potter World, Hogsmeade, is Flight of the Hippogriff. This is a smaller roller coaster. It's a kid's coaster. I will say it goes a little faster than you might expect for a kid's coaster. Can get very long lines because they typically only have one train on the track at a time. But I think it's pretty fun. I think it's worth doing if the line isn't too long, especially because it does have a very realistic, very cool animatronic of Buckbeak the Hippogriff from the Harry Potter movies and books. It's one of my favorite animatronics in Universal Orlando, and I think definitely worth checking out at least once. As you're headed away from Hogwarts, you will pass a stage here on the left. This stage is home to two different shows. There's the Frog Choir, which is a a cappella group that does sing with frogs that join the group. And you can also see the Triwizard Spirit Rally, which is a show featuring students from Beauxbatons and Durmstrang. Both are very cool shows, and they're both about 10 minutes. So if you stop by and you see one going on, I recommend checking them out. A lot of the stores in Hogsmeade are not real. So you'll notice that there's like lots of store facades. Those are just that, they're facades. I do recommend looking in the windows, and also, if you have an interactive wand, you can cast magic that will make different effects happen in these store windows that are pretty cool. So that's something worth doing if you do want to purchase a wand or just stand around while someone else is making them happen. That can be pretty cool too. If you do want to purchase a wand, they do have this cart that sells all the different character wands and Death Eater wands. You can also head into Ollivanders, which we'll check out in a second. There's also another cart kind of tucked around this corner that has merchandise themed to Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure, the most popular attraction in this land. As you might be able to tell, this land is pretty busy. It is typically the busiest land, so even though it's a relatively slow day, it's a weekday at Universal, it's still busy here in Hogsmeade. Right here, this little cart called the Magic Neep. Grab some grab-and-go stuff, some bottled waters and things like that. And then here's Ollivanders, which is one part show, one part merchandise location. At Ollivanders, you can see the Wand Choose the Wizard. It's a show that a few families go in at a time, and one person from those families gets chosen to get their wand choosing ceremony and find out what wand is right for them. It's a very cool show, a very cool experience. Emma got to do it during our Can We Do Everything in Harry Potter World in One Day video, and I did cry because I'm dramatic. Whether or not you're chosen for the experience, you can head next door into the Owl Post, which is where you can purchase a wand of your own. There are a variety of wands. There are prop replica wands that are non-interactive, and then there's a lot of interactive wands. For the prop replicas and the interactive wands, you can get them for character wands, which is very cool. They also have non-character wands, which are just for like the Wand Chooses the Wizard ceremony, and these are really cool. If you are wondering what wand would choose you, you can speak to a team member here, and they'd be happy to help you out and let you know which wand would choose you in the wand choosing ceremony, whether or not you're chosen for that show at Ollivanders. Oh my gosh. Calm down, Monster Book of Monsters. Lots more Harry Potter merch in here. There's a whole other section of wands in there as you exit Ollivanders. Definitely worth walking around, especially as a Harry Potter fan. Even if you don't buy anything, there are elements in the stores that are worth looking at, like these brooms flying near the ceiling, or the Monster Book of Monsters we just saw. So that's kind of a dual store between the Owl Post and Dervish and Bangs. Also, check out in this window when you come out. You can see a howler on display. Howlers from the Harry Potter books and movies are letters you can send that yell at the recipient. You can actually buy them here in Harry Potter World and record your own message, and then it magically pays for them when they receive it. So if you need to yell at somebody, howler is always an option. If you're a stationery fan, you should check out this outdoor cart. Also, plush owls, which who doesn't love a plush owl? There's usually some pretty fun stuff there, those howlers you can buy. My like stuffed animal as a kid that I was really attached to was a stuffed owl. Which, like, you know, most people have like a stuffed animal, like a teddy bear or something. Mine was an owl. I named it Cuckoo. Next up, we have what is probably the most popular ride at all of Universal Orlando Resort, Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure. This is a story coaster where you ride on either a motorbike or a sidecar and launch through the Forbidden Forest and see a bunch of different magical creatures. There are a lot of surprises on this coaster. I absolutely love it. It is not the most intense roller coaster, but because of the surprises, it's one of my favorite roller coasters of all time. You do have to be 48 inches tall to ride. Now, Hagrid's, like I said, most popular ride. It has a 70-minute wait and it's a slow day. So, if you want to ride Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure, I recommend rope dropping it if you have early entry. Universal Hotel guests and annual pass holders tend to have early entry. Or, I recommend grabbing a beer or a drink, a butterbeer before you get in line, and have that be like a snack time while you wait. It's worth it. For sure. I've waited over an hour for this many times and I don't regret a single one. More store facades that I do recommend looking in the windows of. Also a great spot to take photos. And here there's a bathroom, but this is a special bathroom because in the girls' restroom you can hear moaning Myrtle, which is pretty cool. I can't show it to you because you're not supposed to film in bathrooms. That would be weird. Next we've got the Hogshead. This is the bar in the Harry Potter books and movies that's owned by Dumbledore's brother Aberforth. And it's also a bar here in Harry Potter World. They do have some exclusive beers here, including the Hogshead beer. And the hog behind the counter is enchanted. He does sometimes move. Lots of tables out here, out back. So there's plenty of seating. And the Hogshead is connected to another quick service restaurant. This is the Three Broomsticks. This restaurant is going to have a lot of like English fare in the morning. They do have full English breakfasts. Breakfasts? That's hard to say in plural. But this is the Three Broomsticks from the Harry Potter films. It looks a lot like it. It's honestly pretty magical eating in here. I don't know. I like to eat in here. I know that English food isn't the most exciting thing and maybe not what you want on a theme park day since it's so heavy, but I like eating in here. We've got another butterbeer cart right here. And just a heads up, lines form on both sides of this cart. So if you ever see a really long line on one side, go to the other side. There's a line there as well. And then here we have Honeydukes. Honeydukes is, of course, the famous candy shop in the books and movies. The students from Hogwarts want to go to Hogsmeade specifically to go to Honeydukes. And they for sure have, hi! They for sure have a ton of magical treats in here as well that you might recognize from the books. They have Birdie Bots every flavored beans, some of these being regular jelly bean flavors, some being a little nasty, like booger or earwax. Buying wizarding candy is definitely a must-do for me at Universal Islands of Adventure. I love the Honeydukes merchandise, and there's an entire bakery case that has some like wizarding treats in there as well. So if you want like butterbeer fudge or pumpkin pasties like they have in the movies, you can grab those out of the bakery case. There is a Hogwarts Express facade out here where you can take photos, and typically you can also find the Hogwarts Express train engineer, and he'll take a photo with you or talk to you a little bit about getting ready for school, which is pretty fun. You can see he's out here right now. And then the last part of Harry Potter World Hogsmeade side is Hogsmeade to London King's Cross, the Hogwarts Express. So this is a really cool attraction. It is an actual train that you can take between Universal Studios and Universal's Islands of Adventure. It drops you in London outside Diagon Alley and here in Hogsmeade. It can have a very long wait, which means you may want to walk around, and you do have to have a park hopper ticket to be able to take this train. So yes, you need to pay for a park hopper ticket if you want to ride this ride. Riding the Hogwarts Express, incredibly magical and worth doing, I think, but paying that upcharge for the park hopper ticket, that's how they get you. That's how they get you. And that is Harry Potter World Hogsmeade. Look how beautiful it is. Especially in this light. Wow. All right, we're into our next island. This is the Lost Continent, which is a very interesting land. It's actually based on ancient myths and legends. There are two subsections in here. We are on the Arabian Marketplace side called Sinbad's Bazaar, and there's a Grecian Atlantic-esque side that is the Lost City. There also used to be a medieval area, medieval fantasy, which was sort of taken out to make room for Harry Potter World. One thing over here, one of the attractions is the Mystic Fountain. This is an interactive fountain that communicates with guests, plays music, and features water spouts. You can hear him, he's talking right now.
And she's really just storm off. This is what you have to look forward to for the rest of your life.
He's literally, the fountain right now is roasting a couple. He was like, she just stormed off. You have to look forward to this for the rest of your life. I don't want to get in the middle of that. A really unique store in the Lost Continent is the All Hallows Eve Boutique, where you can find Halloween, spooky merchandise all year round. Universal is well known for Halloween Horror Nights, their horror event. I absolutely love it. It's my favorite time of year at Universal. They kind of have a store that's dedicated to that. And right now, they have spooky Mardi Gras merchandise. Oh my gosh. These dragon horns. Those are so cool. Look at that. Spooky Mardi Gras. A holster for your drink. Give me your tumbler and drink all day. This one's cool too. Across the way we have a merchandise location. This is Star Soul's Psychic Reading. So they do actually have psychic readings here sometimes. But they've also got henna that you can get done. And it's a really just unique shop. Crystals and things you can buy, incense. It's pretty cool. Here we've got Doc Sugrue's Desert Kebab House. They've got beef, chicken, and vegetarian kebabs and Greek salads here, hummus, things like that. Over here you can get your coat of arms. This part of Islands of Adventure always makes me feel a little Renaissance fairy, which I like. I think that's something that Disney World is missing, is that they don't have any like Renaissance fair vibes. Disneyland even does with the number of bread bowls. But you can come in here, get some medieval merch, and find out your family's coat of arms. And buy How to Train Your Dragon merch. Oh my gosh, Dueling Dragons throwback. You know. Oh my gosh, stop. Kung Fu Panda's over there. So there are some character meet and greets in Lost Continent. I've seen King Julian from Madagascar over here, but literally Kung Fu Panda's out. I'm a little starstruck, I'm not gonna lie. Fire Eater's Grill is another food location here in Lost Continent. They've got Nathan's hot dog, things like gyros and chicken fingers. So more basic here, but they've got some like Greek influence. That way is a little shortcut over to Jurassic Park. There's a merchandise location here called Treasures of Poseidon. This is the exit through retail for Poseidon's Fury, which we'll talk about in just a sec. It's got a number of different, like, the stuff in here is more unique. It's definitely not Universal specific, so you might want to stay away from it if that's what you're looking for, but we do have a lot of like great kind of like vacation souvenirs that you might want to grab. Like, you want to grab a friend something. It's like beach shop vibes, you know what I mean? And then this huge entrance here is Poseidon's Fury. This is a show. It's interactive and it does take you into the Temple of Poseidon, as you can see here. What I really love about this sort of location is that the theming is a collapsed statue. So you've got the V here, where what would have been a massive statue used to stand. And then all scattered throughout the area are elements of the statue. Like, you got the arm holding the trident here, and then his face is sort of laying in the ground right here. So, I don't know. I think it's a pretty cool area. This show is a little on the cheesy side, but I actually have very fond memories of doing it as a kid. So maybe take your kids on in. Emma did it recently when she tried to do every attraction in Universal in one day, which you can find on the channel. And she really loved this show. So who doesn't want to anger the gods? Somebody gets pulled out of the audience as the person who angered the gods, and it was me when I was like 7. And I was like, yes, I did! Perhaps surprisingly, the most interesting thing in Lost Continent is Mythos Restaurant. This is one of only 2 table service restaurants in this park. It's this and Confisco Grill. And it's got sort of a menu of like sandwiches, pastas, and things like that. It's a pretty popular restaurant because it's actually been awarded the world's best theme park restaurant for many years running. See? Look at that. World's best theme park restaurant. I have some pictures of me as a little kid hanging out in these rocks over by Mythos. I don't know. I just think this area is really cool. Like, it's obviously fallen a little out of fashion over the years, but like that guy, he's cool. Sometimes Universal gets hate for not being as immersive in that you can see all the other lands when you're in a land. But I think there's something kind of cool about that. Like, I can look around and you can very clearly see, like, there's Port of Entry, there's Marvel Superhero Island, there's Toon Lagoon, there's Jurassic Park. Like, it's like, it looks like little islands. And I think that's pretty cool. My God, look at these fish. Those dudes are huge. Made it back to the main path after exploration. Past a cute little merchandise stall again. Non-Universal specific merchandise. And we're headed into our final island. And a very fun one at that. Welcome to Seuss Landing. Seuss Landing is based on the works of author Dr. Seuss, who you might have heard of. As in the books, one of the unique characteristics of this area is that there are almost no straight lines anywhere. Which is really cool. If you look around, like, it's pretty hard to see straight lines. The only place I can really see them are these beams that the rides go on, which I'm kind of glad that they're straight, honestly. They're not even fully straight, I think. In fact, the dedication to no straight lines in this park went so far that they actually relocated palm trees that were bent by Hurricane Andrew to this area so that there would be bent palm trees. It was wild. Right as you enter from this side, you arrive at Moose Juice Goose Juice, which is kind of a stand that has pretzels, churros, pizza. I've gotten a corn dog here before. That kind of stuff, kind of the basics. No moose juice or goose juice, despite what you would expect. This track up here is the High in the Sky Seuss Trolley Train Ride. This is a twin-tracked monorail-style ride around Dr. Seuss' 1961 story, The Sneetches. It tours all of Seuss Landing and references a bunch of other Dr. Seuss books. I think it is very fun, and it's a very unique ride in that you see Seuss Landing from a bird's eye view, and there are some scenes on the roofs of the buildings that you can only see if you're on the High in the Sky trolley. My favorite store in Seuss Landing is the Mulberry Street store with gizmos, gadgets, goodies galore. Mulberry Street was my favorite Seuss book as a kid. I loved when my dad would read it to me, and to think that I saw it on Mulberry Street. Lots of Thing merch. If you're a Thing fan, you can get Thing 1, Thing 2 merch for pretty much any age, which is pretty cool, but lots of Seuss merch in general. Generally, you're going to see most stuff is Thing 1, Thing 2 merch and Grinch merch, since the Grinch is very popular. Around Christmas, there's even some Grinch-specific Christmas merchandise. Watch Seuss cartoons in here. Across the street, we have Snickers and Snickers Sweet Candy Cookers. This is another candy store. They have combos. That's pretty cool. Lots of candy, as you can see on the wall. I mean, who doesn't want candy when you're in a theme park? You know what I mean? And the best part is these candy apples that are themed to Dr. Seuss. Continuing on, we have the Hop on Pop ice cream shop, which is ice cream, you guessed it. They've got brownie sundaes, sundae on a stick, which is very cool, very tasty. Here we've got Dr. Seuss's All the Books You Can Read, which does for sure have Dr. Seuss books. Lots of Grinch stuff, Cat in the Hat stuff. But you can actually find all the Dr. Seuss books back here too. Oh, and look, they've got Dr. Seuss coloring pages. Oh, look, we're like backstage. So we have the Carousel, which is the carousel here at Islands of Adventure, and instead of horses, it is Seuss-style creatures on this one. This is another one that I personally have a emotional attachment to, because when I did come to Universal as a little kid, my whole family rode on Carousel, and my dad rode on the tiniest elephant. It's that one. You can see it, that pink elephant. My dad rode on that, and it looked so funny because my dad's not a small person. And that picture of him on that tiny elephant was actually framed in my bedroom for me growing up, so I love the Carousel for that reason. Feels like family to me. Here we have the Circus McGurkus Cafe Stupendous. This is another quick service restaurant. They've got cheeseburgers, chicken sandwiches, more to the norm. You can kind of get that that's sort of the thing here at Universal. They have some really good holiday offerings though. I had Foo Beast there for the holidays, and it was pretty tasty. Another ride is One Fish, Two Fish, Red Fish, Blue Fish. This is a Dumbo style ride. Picks you up, takes you around, although there are water spouts on this one, so you could get a little wet. You can see the fish spit water at you. You do hear the One Fish, Two Fish story as you're on it. Great for little kiddos. Also in this land is the Cat in the Hat. This is a dark ride that does take you through the story of the Cat in the Hat. It's shockingly scary, in my opinion. I mean, I rode it as a kid and didn't think it was scary, but I think it's scary now. The Cat in the Hat animatronic is so scary. The Things animatronics are so scary. But, you know, it's a Cat in the Hat dark ride if you want it. You exit that dark ride through Cat's Hats and Things. This is a Cat in the Hat themed store. So if you're looking for some Cat in the Hat merchandise, some Thing merchandise, I like it out here in this courtyard because there is this egg that you can sit on. I'm sitting on this egg. Horton hatches the egg in the books, but I'm gonna hatch it now. So I'll see you guys later. I gotta sit on this egg. Oh my god, Horton showed up and he was like, I'll hatch the egg. You can finish the Seuss Landing tour. There is an interactive play area for kids in here called If I Ran the Zoo, which is themed to the Dr. Seuss book of the same name. You can find it right here through this hedge entrance. A super fun play area that I recommend checking out if you've got little ones, especially little ones who you've read Dr. Seuss books to. And last but certainly not least is Green Eggs and Ham. This is a shop that is literally a giant green ham, and it is where they serve green eggs and ham. You can literally get loaded tots with green eggs and ham on them. I absolutely love this spot. It's my favorite place to eat in all of Islands of Adventure because you can get hoo hash, which is corned beef on tater tots. It's so good. You can get green eggs and ham tots, which are also so good. And though this is not always the case, Emma's here. Just hanging out at Green Eggs and Ham.
Yeah, I also have a meeting in 5 minutes, so I was just going to take you here.
At Green Eggs and Ham. Understandable. Carry on. Emma's literally in a meeting, but I went with the carnitas tots and she got the hoo hash. The carnitas tots are roasted pork, jalapenos, tomato salsa, scallions, lime cream, and white cheese sauce over tots. The hoo hash is corned beef, onions, white cheese sauce, scallions, and tater tots, and it's served as a souvenir hoo hash can. Carnitas tots were pretty good. I would say they're not overly spicy. They have jalapenos on them, but the jalapenos are seeded, so it's really not overly spicy at all, especially mixed with the sour cream. My favorite tots here are the green eggs and ham tots, which I think are also the most famous. The eggs are green, you know, that's Dr. Seuss for you. The Who Hash is very good too, although it's a little more expensive with that souvenir can, but then you get the souvenir can. So I don't know, I recommend this spot. It's good ham. And with that, we have seen every single thing at Universal's Islands of Adventure. If you've got any questions about Islands of Adventure, feel free to ask them in the comments or ask us on Instagram. If you like this video, go ahead and like and subscribe. And now go watch our complete tour of Universal Studios. See you there!